Hey everybody, Rainy Paycheck back. I feel like I need to get a new slogan because that makes me sound all weird talking in third person. So I'll figure that out. Maybe you can help me out with it. Raw food dude talking to you, or something like that, but not that. Nothing like that. Um, so today I wanted to talk about raw foods and raw veganism. Um, I guess first we should be asking ourselves, what is raw veganism? Well, raw means uncooked, unprocessed, unheated, unadulterated, unrefined. But should we really be defining something by what we don't do to it? I don't think so. I think we should, when we think of raw, we should think straight from source, like straight from the tree, straight from the ground, straight from the environment, giving us a relationship to our environment and to that which supports us. So maybe raw isn't the best word we should be using. It's kind of, I don't know, I think we should just call it food, kind of like organic food. We call it organic food, but really it should just be called food, and the stuff that has pesticides and herbicides and fungicides all over them should suffer the adverb, you know? So maybe raw foodish should just be called people who eat food, and people who aren't raw foodish should be called people who eat junk. You know, maybe they should get junk foodists or something, you know? You feel me? Anyways, veganism, raw is a straight a relationship with the food we eat, just like every other animal has a direct relationship with the food they eat. And veganism means comes from the word vega, which means fertile land. Interestingly enough, because if everybody went vegan, we would have some real fertile land going on around here. And vegan also is veg. It comes from veg, like vegetables, like plant foods. That's what essentially it means, plant foods. But again, it kind of comes with this preconceived notion of superiority. A lot of people, when they hear, oh, you're vegan, oh, you must think you're superior to everybody. But really, it's like, no, I don't think I'm superior to anybody. That's why I don't make others suffer, you know? I think I'm equal to cows and pigs and chickens, and so I don't want to enslave them, just like I think I'm equal to African Americans and Japanese people, so I don't think we should be putting them in concentration camps or enslaving them, you know? I mean, racism and sexism is the same as speciesism. It's all this inexistent notion of superiority that we have running rampant in our heads. So, anyways, so raw veganism means direct relationship with the food that you eat in a plant food form, essentially, right? So, just like every other animal on this planet has a direct relationship with the food they eat, and their bodies help them with that direct relationship. Like tigers have big sharp claws to grab their prey and big sharp teeth to grind their meat, and we have little not sharp claws to peel oranges and to pick fruit and whatnot. Anyways, if you already realize all this and you are trying to go raw vegan, maybe I would like to tell you about my raw vegan story. Started about 5 years ago, and I started learning about it through David Wolfe and reading Eating for Beauty. I must say that I felt extremely good when I started doing it. Felt like reborn, like, oh my gosh, this is what life's supposed to feel like. Blew my mind. I was like, oh my goodness, of course, you know? I felt amazing. I was working at a raw food restaurant in Salt Lake City, the best raw food restaurant I've ever been to, but it's still high fat, gourmet raw. I don't know. I felt amazing. Coming from a standard American diet, my old favorite food was Junior Bacon Cheeseburger from Wendy's. So I, of course, felt amazing cutting out all the crap and going to raw foods, gourmet raw. I did this for a long time. I was super strict, eating massive amounts of just everything, like total bad food, combining massive amounts of garlic, probably to quell the candida that was running rampant in my body from the high fat diet that I was eating of lots of nuts and seeds and coconut oils and olive oil, and you know how it goes. Yeah, I had some mad garlic breath. I could walk into a room and they'd be like, "Oh, Rainey's here," and they wouldn't even see me. It's pretty bad. Anyway, so I was doing the David Wolf thing, feeling reborn, sucking on his chocolate-filled breasts like he was my mother in my raw rebirth. I'm sorry. I have to make fun of David Wolf. He makes fun of fruitarians all the time, so he deserves a little taste of his own medicine, you know. And dude, the dude's got breasts, and he's a health advocate, you know. Something doesn't add up. Maybe it's a little bit too much cacao, buddy. Okay, now I'm really talking crap. So doing the high fat thing, did it for almost 4 years. Okay, so I had to go to dinner and now it's dark and I've got unnatural light on me. So that's why it looks different, but I'm really glad that I had to interrupt myself during that video cuz the dinner I had will really help explain some things with some visual evidence. Okay, so let me say this. I live 80 miles away from the closest grocery store in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and so it's sometimes hard for me to stay stocked up on fruit. So today was one of those days, and I didn't get enough fruit. So during dinner, just an hour ago, maybe two, I ate a little bit of rice. And if you can notice, just 4 hours ago, I didn't have these blotches on my skin, and just that little bit of cooked food gives me a detoxing reaction immediately. My skin inflames a little bit, turns a little red, my body temperature goes up, I get acne, and I get itchy on my lymphatic system, which is essentially your detoxification system, itchy on my lymph nodes. But the moral of the story is that I feel better eating a little bit of cooked rice than I would feel from getting the calories that I'm lacking from avocados or nuts or seeds or something high fat. I feel better itching and looking a little red and having acne than I do from eating a bunch of oil and fat that muddles up my stomach and my blood and stops my brain from working at peak function. But let me finish where I was going with the earlier video, and that was that it took me about 4 years of doing high fat raw veganism to start going to high carb, low fat raw veganism. I had to figure it out all on my own before listening to Durian Ryder and Freely and Dr. Doug Graham and all those people advocating high carb, low fat raw veganism. And I used to listen to them on the internet years ago, and I was like, huh, you make a lot of sense, but you want to take my raw chocolate away from me? I don't think so. So my addiction to raw chocolate and seeds and all that stuff kept me from following a healthy diet. Kind of like an addiction to drugs will probably keep you on drugs and keep you away from being sober. So eventually, since I'm so stubborn, I had to learn all these things on my own. I eventually learned all these things, and I eventually started listening to them. And before listening to them, I tried all sorts of cooked foods. I fell off the wagon because I didn't eat enough carbohydrates. I would just eat salad for breakfast, and I'd eat a bunch of nuts for lunch, and I'd eat just whatever I had laying around. I didn't know. As long as it was raw, it was the best thing for me. And I tried every superfood on the market, and I spent extreme amounts of money, and I wasted extreme amounts of money. And so eventually I followed Durian Ryder and Doug Graham and Freely and all them, but it wasn't until I actually did all the experimenting, because I'm so stubborn, to actually find myself eating by default a high carb, low fat, raw vegan diet. And once I actually started eating a low fat, high carb, raw vegan diet, it was like a whole nother rebirth. It was like, so this is what life is supposed to feel like. It's like unlimited energy. It's like your brain is unlocked from its any bit of depression or any bit of slowness, and you've got this insane mental clarity. Dude, I was singing songs that I was making up freestyle for days. Like, I just my brain was exploding with ideas and happiness and like energy, and my body was so energetic that I could just go run, and I could work all day long and then immediately go to working out and then go on a run. And then because I had my heart rate up from the run, I would work out a whole bunch more, and then I would go eat more fruit, and then I'd go drink more water, and then I'd go work out more, and I got in shape like insanely fast. Recovery times were so quick and short that I could do everything I did the day before the next day. It's like, oh, we're supposed to be active. Oh, we're not supposed to be tired and sitting on the couch all day. Oh, that's why our society is the way it is. Oh, everything makes sense. Oh, these hands are made for picking fruit, and that's just what they'll do. And one of these days, this fruit juice is gonna squirt all over you. And see what I mean about the freestyling? You know, it's just like, just kidding, I made that up a while ago, but I didn't know I was gonna say it right there, and it worked out pretty well. God, I hate tooting my own horn. So the moral of the story is that high carb, low fat, raw veganism is the way to go. It is the way our bodies are meant to eat. Our brains work off glucose that can be easily and quickly and efficiently converted from fructose in fruits. And our muscles work off of glycogen, which is part of the glycolysis process. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Glycolysis. Nah. And our muscles work off glycogen, which comes from glucose, which comes from fructose, which comes from fruits most efficiently. And we used to live in the forests of Africa, where we picked fruits like primates do, you know, like our closest relatives eat 95% fruits and vegetables. You know, it makes sense. And anyways, so you see what I mean, like, raw food is not law. If you want to become a raw foodist, don't become a strict raw foodist. If you don't have enough fruits and vegetables around, then don't be afraid to eat some rice or potatoes or even pasta. You're going to feel better on these foods than you do eating 5 avocados or whatever, what have you. So the moral of the story is high carb, low fat, raw veganism is the best ever. Lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, maybe a handful of nuts and seeds, or half an avocado a day. Or if you don't have enough fruits, then the next best are carbohydrates from cooked starches like potatoes, rice, or even pasta. So high carb, low fat, raw or not vegan. Got it? Alright. I hope this makes some sense, and I hope it helps, and I wish you the best. I love you guys. Ciao.